morning to honorable faculty members, respected guests, and my dear friends. Every great idea begins with a story. Stories are not just words, they are bridges that connect minds, spark innovation, and inspire changes. And when story meets technology, they create magic. They turn lines of code into solutions that transform our lives.
I, Srishti,
And I, Shivansh.
welcome you all to today's enlightening workshop on the theme Innovative Stories Behind the Code, organized by the Institution Innovation Council and ENIGMA, the IT Club of Governor International Management School.
IIC. IIC was established on 21st November 2018 at JIMS for Sankuch. Since inception of IIC by the Innovation Cell as per the norms and directives of the Ministry of Education. Then the Ministry of Human Resource Development, MHRD. It is established to engage large number of faculty, students and staff in various innovation and entrepreneurship related activities such as hackathons, leadership talks, ideation, workshops and seminars in IPR.
Since the inception of ENIGMA, the IT Club has been at the forefront of nurturing a thriving community of tech enthusiasts at JIMS promoting creativity, skills, development, and collaboration. This year, the club celebrated a significant milestone by successfully organizing its highly anticipated hackathon, which provided a platform for students to demonstrate their technical expertise and problem-solving skills.
Now, to guide us through this unique intersection of stories and technology, we are honored to welcome Ms. Richa Valley, a distinguished XLRI alumni, leadership speaker, story coach, and executive presence facilitator. With over 20 years of experience in helping individuals lead with confidence and communicate with impact.
She is the founder of Tales That Spin, a boutique storytelling consultancy that empowers people to craft narratives that resonates in business, work, and life. Over her career, she has worked with entrepreneurs, professionals, and students, enabling them to shape their stories with clarity and purpose. With more than 500 stories crafted, 70 plus entrepreneurs empowered, and 100 plus students mentored, Ms. Wahi has transformed the way people show up in interviews, classrooms, boardrooms, and on stage. Her mission is to storify 1 lakh lives, making individuals across sectors stronger, more authentic, and more inspiring communicators.
Now, on behalf of the IIC and ENIGMA, the IT Club of JIMS Vasant, I extend a warm welcome to you now. And I now request Dr. Abha Pandey to kindly present a planter to our esteemed guest as a token of gratitude. Now, without any further delay, let us hear from the storyteller herself. We invite Ms. Richa Valley to take the stage and share with us her thoughts on innovative stories behind it.
Jama is being very excited. She's already on the stage. So thank you so much. Yes, I'm fine. So it's very nice and enriching to hear your own introduction. As things being told, and it takes you back to the memory lane when you started your career and where you've come. Incidentally, I started my career from a college. I'm a MPhil in nanonuclear genetics from Delhi University, and I started my first job was this Hanscard APIs are talking to each other in microseconds. Everything's happening. You're just tapping the app to make your life convenient. But there's lots happening in the background. And these codes are written by people like you with a lot of hard work across the years, right? Do you agree with that? Sure. But when you're with your friends, do you for one moment think about the code? No. Think about the movie, the evening, the enjoyment, the experience that you're having. Nobody thinks about the back-end code that's making it possible. So in the end, you say, oh, we had a great evening, everything was just fine, it worked, it felt effortless. And that is true for technology. We do not buy because of technology, we buy because of feelings attached to that. So the reason you go back to an app, whichever app you use, is not because what an app works on, what is the code. You are going to go to the app because what it's doing for you. You know, if the app is working for you, good. If it's not working for you, you just leave it. So Uber, if you think of Uber, what is the story of Uber? Uber is not a ride-hailing company. Uber is telling you can go any place, anytime, anywhere with safety. What is Zomato story? Zomato is not delivery logistics. The code is built on delivery logistics. What is Zomato story saying? Zomato is saying hunger solved, happiness delivered any time of the day. What is the WhatsApp story? WhatsApp is not an end-to-end encryption code. Okay, that's in the back end. What is the front-end story they are telling you? Oh, it's your loved ones and you'll always be in the reach. You can talk to them, call them, chat with them, and it's always between you. End-to-end encryption. Nobody knows what you're talking to that person, right? So remember the line, code builds the product. What you're working on will build the product, the app. But stories build the connection. And it's because of the connection you go and buy a product, buy a service, or use that, right? So just remember this line, I'll keep repeating it again and again. Code builds the product, the app, the technology, but it is the story which builds the connection. And I will show you how this happens. In your PCA curriculum, you will be taught everything, how to code, how to deploy, how to build the product. Then why mine work? Because I'm going to teach you or tell you about the power of storytelling, because I just told you, stories build the connection. I'm going to tell you about this Brahmastra. The earlier you learn, the better it is. Because I deal with people who've got 28 years of experience, CEO level people, leaders, and they are now realizing how important storytelling is for a strategic presence. So you are lucky that you are getting to know this, not just through me, but everywhere else, that stories are very important. The power of storytelling is very, very important. Now, storytelling is not like some garnish that you put on your presentation. It's not for decoration. It's one skill that can convert your product into a movement, and it can turn you programmers and BCA people into visionaries. How we do that, I will not show you, I will not tell you, I will show you through some examples so that it remains in your mind. And next time when you look at a brand, do not look at it from the point of view of coder, but from the point of view of what is the story, right? You recognize this person? You all, one of the greatest visionaries in the tech field ever. Now this is a very important statement that he said. Most powerful person in the world is the storyteller, because he sets the vision, the values, and the agenda for an entire generation that is to come. If I were to ask you a question, why are you all sitting here today? What is the reason? You say we took a vision, we are in gyms, we are a part of this class. You are all sitting here today because of a code. It is that code that ensured that you get through your admission test, you reach here, right? Agree? So it's because of that code you power your assignments. It's because of the code you will get your next job. It's because of the code you will be making a startup and pitching it somewhere tomorrow on some Shark Tank. So it is the code which is helping you. But again, with the honesty of potential and the conviction of the founder, I can tell you, code is just helping you build the product. If you want to make it work in your life, whether it is you yourself or your brand, you have to build a narrative. Right? So, I will say good morning. So, good morning, everybody. And
happy for us is I think very much really very enjoyable for us to we came from that background when we found ourselves in Mumbai during the pandemic, which was sort of the problem that obviously stabbed us and many people in this at the time. And yeah, we set up there's a model that there's a model that's no fiction in all across the world. We've been invited to make this in India. And that's when we started expanding to which is based on actually so what us to this model, very transparently sort of the metrics and so on, all complex effects. So yeah, that's been sort of what we're doing and how we work.
We started somewhere around pandemic. Pandemic is the time when we really do want to go out. Now, what is the code for Zepto? You will be doing better. We have complex logistics, computing, AI-powered routing, warehouses. But when you order something in the morning on Zepto, do you remember the code? People will pull out the code. Anyone of us who are technical people, somebody non-technical like me, do we even pull out the code? No. What is the narrative we remember? 10 minutes, the groceries are at the door. Whether it's Zepto, whether it's Swiggy, whether it's Blinkit. We remember the narrative. There's a lot of things happening in the background. We don't think about that. So, what if Zepto, instead of advertising the 10 minutes and your groceries are at the grocery, start saying, we are Zepto, we are doing complex logistics, we have warehousing, we have this, that. What if they start advertising like the code? Do you think anybody would understand? Probably you would because you understand the space. But for a common man, the narrative is very, very important, right? So, today we remember Zepto not for algorithms, but because they rewrote the idea of convenience. And that's the power of story. Anywhere, any brand you pick, they will always give you a narrative which you can remember. Let's go to the next one. Our very own famous UPI. We all use UPI day in, day out. Let's have a look.
Imagine a world where sending money is as easy as sending a text. That's the power of UPI, India's real-time payment system revolutionizing digital transactions. With seamless interoperability, 24/7 transfers, top-notch security, and endless possibilities, UPI is changing the game. From promoting financial inclusion to driving connect innovation, this platform is the future of payments. Join the digital revolution with UPI and experience the convenience firsthand.
Convenience first hand. What is the code for UPI? APIs, IIC's protocols, NPCI's framework, nobody understands. What is the story? Trust. When you're sending the money, only that much is debited from your account. Trust. Ease. As easy as sending a text. Quick, simple, instant. I can pay my chaiwala 20 rupees with UPI without carrying a cash. I don't need to carry cash. I can just go anywhere just with my phone. That is the narrative they gave. And how this narrative gave them? It became an instant success. UPI has crafted India's fintech success. If you have cousins visiting from abroad, and because in India this is revolutionized, it has not still reached the global founders. When your cousins visiting from abroad, you're very surprised. They love to do Blinkit and they love to use UPI, and they're like, it's so convenient. Because it's not that in US or UK it's catching up, but India has scripted its own digital financial revolution thanks to UPI. Now, if UPI was to advertise, hey, listen, we are a platform, we do IIC's protocol, nobody will understand. You think a farmer who's sitting in a village will understand? No. What they understand is trustworthy, it's safe, it's easy, it's simple, it's instant. Narrative is important. So code is making UPI work. But what has ensured that UPI is a success? The narrative, the story or the micro story that you give. Let's look at a third very common example. And a very brilliant question we have. WhatsApp. We all use WhatsApp day in, day out. Yes, yes. It's a brilliant question. Please have a look. We are moving to a planet, we are making our planet very, very unhealthy in terms of the air quality. What he's saying is, this is the car that belongs to your future. If you want your children to breathe a healthier planet, please take this car. This is only hope left. So the car will save the planet to a future where your children breathe cleaner air. What is the sentiment he's driving? Automobile market is all full. Okay, every day companies are releasing new cars. What is the differentiator? We're not a car, we're a dream. Because we will give you what nobody else is giving. What is that nobody else is giving? Cleaner planet. Your children will breathe healthier air. That is the reason why people are ready to join your wait list. Wait for this car to come. Even the waiting with waited red ka buying Tesla ka hum khareenge. Why? Because he is selling a dream. This is your future car. Invest in this. It's worth it. Otherwise, cars go on, but this is something which will save your planet. So, what the narrative you tell the world, and you have a coded data to support, people will buy. People buy stories and feelings before they look at the product, the technique, and the features. Are we on this? You okay with it? Yes, no, maybe. Okay. Now, for example, storytelling turns groceries into impatient sort. UPI turns protocols into trust. WhatsApp says, forget encryption, talk about bond, closeness with your people. Tesla says, you're not an technology, we're a dream. You know, that's the power of storytelling. That's the power of using narratives. And if you stop looking from the eyes of a coder and start looking from the eyes of a storyteller, you'll find narratives in every piece that you work on. And that is a shift that you have to bring. The world does not need more coders. The world needs more storytellers who can code. And that can be your differentiator tomorrow when you're standing for an interview in a job, for a job. You know, there are hundreds applying for one job opportunity. What is your differentiator? That you also are a storyteller. You can look at the narrative and also work on the code. And that will help you, trust me. Moving forward, our second segment is data storytelling. You work with data, you work with numbers. Bachelor of Computer Application, you work with you come to the narrative, it was the data in the analytics. ये कहाँ से आ रहे हैं? रात को ज़्यादा order कौन सी जगह से आ रहे हैं? आपका कॉलेज है यहाँ पे, तो students, they're studying at night, उनको रात को भूख लगती है, डालो discount and let them. So this narrative changed the game for Swiggy. Let's analyze one more. Spotify. Have you heard of Spotify?
Yes, ma'am.
Use Spotify. You listen to ads. Not ads. You listen to music. They advertise so much, but you listen to one song and the ad comes so that you take the premium membership, right? Now, Spotify every December, what they do is magical they do. They take the boring numbers, they analyze each one of them. So if you all are using Spotify, they're analyzing every minute which song. She's listening Punjabi, he's listening Sufi, he's listening rock and pop, and he's into hard metal. They're analyzing each one of us. Every year in December, they take these boring numbers. How many minutes you listen? Which artist you do? Which song you put to stop replaying? And convert them into colorful, personalized stories. And the code, of course, is recommendation engine, data mining, visualization APIs, which you understand. But the story is that this is the soundtrack of your year. You are the hero of the story. This is who you are in music. So December when you get to know, okay, I'm a die-hard fan of this guy. You know Sapphire? Who's that singer? And you know what? Ed Sheeran fan. Throughout the year, this is the artist I look on. This is my story, my soundtrack. Oh, I didn't realize I listen to home studio Pakistan all the time. Huh? So this is a narrative they give you at the end of the year, and people post it very nicely on their Instagram. Are you posting the code on the Instagram? No. You're posting your story when you are with you. So this is what converting data into story can do. You showcase it, right? Always remember, people never share graphs, never share data, never share code, nothing about numbers. They only share stories, especially where they can see themselves in it. Coming to another story, not as interesting as this, but Aadhaar. You all have Aadhaar card, can't live without it in India. Let's have a look at it.
100 करोड़ से ज्यादा आबादी का देश, मतलब इतनी ही जेबें होती पर एक वीआईपी नंबर है जो लगभग हर एक जेब में पाया जाता है और उसे दिखाओ तो मुश्किलें आसान हो जाती हैं। बैंक में खाते खुल जाते हैं आसानी से, अपने रखे पैसे, किसानों को सम्मान निधि से आय सहायता, फसल के बीमे का पैसा, श्रमिकों को पेंशन, गैस सब्सिडी, स्कॉलरशिप सीधे अपने खाते में आ जाती है आसानी से। हम कितना भी दूर क्यों न बैठे हो, बैंक हमारे दरवाजे तक पहुंच जाता है आसानी से। अरे नेट बैंकिंग हो करेगी, इससे इनकम टैक्स वेरिफिकेशन भी हो जाता है आसानी से। अब आपकी हमारे लिए कोई रियायत की जरूरत हो रही ना है, इसीलिए करते हैं क्या आधार अपना लो।
Coming back, Aadhaar, India is the largest biometric database in the world. This is a unique concept which was started by India, much on the lines of the social security number that you get in the US. Every one of you has an Aadhaar number, that is your unique, verifiable identity. So whether you're in Delhi or Mizoram or Darbhanga or any corner of India, this number showcases that you are a valid citizen of India and you are entitled for some benefits. Okay? Now, Aadhaar has billions of data points, but what is the story? How it started as a simple app which can help you navigate your way in the city. What is it doing so much? Now they've added ChatGPT, also Gemini. You can even plan an outing with your friends and helping you there, and giving you reviews of great companies. Google Maps has trillions of data. Every location ping, every turn, every accident report, everything. Of course, you don't know the code, there must be algorithms, shortest path computation, predictive models. But what's the story? What's the story of Google Maps? What can be the story of Google Maps? If you like to try, what can be the story? Yes. You won't be lost. You reach your way. Simple. As simple as that. So the impact that this line has had on our lives is so much that today Google Maps is an integral part of our travels. Of course, there have been some mishaps also. People have found themselves jumping off a half-done corridor or a bridge, but that's not the thing. Google Maps not only plans our within city travel, but travel outside the city, interstate, and whatnot. It's a magic compass we have in our daily lives. So this is data storytelling. Millions of calculations. You're not interested? Give us one line of narrative. You're happy to go with that. Are you on this? Okay. Let's move on to the last segment. See, code and data together with innovation. But innovation just solely is transformation. I let you understand what I got this. Code turns data into some output. Story turns data into impact. Data without story is just a number. Nobody understands. Story without data is a fable. How are you saying? Where is the data to prove what you're saying? So you need data. But when they both dance together, that's when innovation becomes transformation. If you want your customer, or let's forget that. If you want some permission from your parents, what do? You cook a story. You want to go on a trip with your friends to Goa and your mom and dad are not agree. You cook a story. नहीं वो भी जा रहा है, नहीं उसकी मम्मी को permission दे दी है, नहीं वो और ना करना, नहीं होगी बहुत safe रहेंगे, अरे हम वो बात है, you cook a story. Tomorrow when you go for work and you want to leave from your boss, what do? You cook a story. No, actually, you know, in my house, this construction is happening, my dog is not well, this is happening. We are always talking in stories. If you have an assignment, deadline, you're not being able to do, you again cook a story. Now, I'm not saying you're making a false story, but you talk in a story to your teacher. Actually, you know what happened? My mom was not well, my nanny was not well, I had to go there. So much less time, I'm feeling so lost, this happened. You're always talking in stories. We don't realize it. We just don't realize it. So the brilliant the storyteller you are, you will succeed in all walks of life. I'm not saying start lying, but a normal do you set the context? What is the outcome? What is the data? What is the mode of data? And emotion. And this is a secret. You won't find it in any book. We have developed it after working with people. So let's go to the first one, context. What is context? To set the context, कि शिव के बारे में बात करिए. Let me see how the माहौल in the house. My father is in the mood. My mom's in the mood. You are setting the context. You know, just setting the stage before you start the conversation. Context, example is Uruguay. So you've seen Uruguay. Have you ever used the Uruguay? You know what is the Uruguay? Okay. Now in India, there is a problem that somebody noticed. That the first and the last kilometer is a chaos. When you get down to the metro and your house is just 1 kilometer, you don't want to walk. The auto wala is overcharging. You don't want to take a cab. What do? Somebody thought about it. Who thought about it? You understood the gap. 1 kilometer ke liye people don't want to walk. They don't want to take an auto, and they're struggling. They don't have anything. We introduced Zulu, green colored bikes which you see on these metro stations. Have you seen that? Ever? Have you seen that?
Yes, ma'am.
And the code we developed must have been developed because that it was IoT enabled e-bikes, GPS trackers, smart locks, payment integration. But the narrative we told the people was it's green, it's quick, it's very, very affordable, it's a ride waiting for you outside the metro station. You are not going to travel Delhi on Zulu, just for 1 kilometer. Agrawal started Oyo Group when he was 19 years old. He just came in one of the shows on TV, and that's when I know he was 19 when he started Oyo Group. And how did he start? He went to some local small hotels near his vicinity and he said, please ये 3 महीने के लिए मुझे चलाने को दे दीजिए. Looking at Ritesh, he was a mean 19-year-old guy. He said, what do you not do anything? He says, anyways, you're not making profit. Give it to me for 3 months. I will do something out of it. And that's how he started. Now, when Oyo Homes decided to launch their startup, they understood a gap. Supposing you're a student and you have to give an exam in some other city, आपको 1 दिन के लिए जाना है वहाँ पे. You don't want to spend a lot of money, but you need access to a clean, safe room. All big hotels are pricey. Small hotels are very dirty, possibly not safe if you're traveling alone. If you're a family taking your first holiday in any city and you don't have the budget of spending, you need something which is budget friendly. What do? You need an access. Come, Oyo. What is the code? They're changing their pricing, comparing it with all the other nearby hotels. So dynamic pricing changes. Standardized check. If a hotel has the Oyo stamp outside, that means there are certain standards that hotel will have. Otherwise, it can't be given a Oyo stamp. Instant booking algorithms. Right? This was all happening in the back end. The emotion was wherever you go, you will get a clean, safe room and get lodged. You belong. So come to this city, look no further, look for an Oyo stand, you will be ensured of a safe room, a clean room. That was the emotion wrapped in this narrative. So COVE. Context, समझो, मैंने स्टेट सेट किया. Outcome, क्या बनाना चाह रहे हो? Data, use the data. इसके basis पे form a narrative. खाली हवा में नहीं मिलना. Emotion. Appeal to the heart. Somebody who's struggling in a new city, okay, I report for I am jealous. Wherever you go, you belong. So, code. This is a framework they use to construct a narrative. Very quickly, we will show you 2 more examples and then we wrap up of how they are using code. Have you ever used Practo? Are you aware of Practo? Have you ever booked an appointment on Practo? That means you're already very good. Practo is a doctor booking app. You can book a medical practitioner either online or offline on this. It made life easy, especially for older people. Now, how are they using code? The context. Before Practo came in, what was the situation? If you had to book the appointment of a falana doctor in some hospital, it was a Herculean task to get hold of the receptionist. Then you dial that, then keep on waiting, then you not get the desired appointment. Now, outcome was one app which is telling you all, supposing I want to go to a dentist. I go to Practo, I type dentist, south of Delhi, all the doctors in my vicinity, their information will come, this is the timing, this is the day, they are available, this is their address, the clinic address, everything at the click of a button. If I want to consult, let's say, a mental health professional, and I don't want to go to him, but I want to consult him online, I can do that also. That was the outcome. Data, before launching the app, we collected the data in terms of how many appointments have booked on a daily basis, where does the medical history go, is anybody consolidating this data, what are the reviews, everything. What was the emotional tadka they gave to people? If you are unhealthy, if you are sick, you need help, you are not lost. We will help you do the same. We will help you reach the doctor. So when I'm vulnerable, I feel guided, not lost. All the 3 are happening in the back end. The front end is the emotional statement. If you are not well, come to us, we will help you reach the doctor. Right? One last example, and that is Razorpay. Have you used Razorpay? Tomorrow, if you make a startup, you will actually bank on Razorpay for your payments. Now, what is the context before Razorpay was introduced? All the startups and the small businesses, they used to be stuck with clunky banks. otherwise, just imagine this is one college, one classroom. How many BCS students are going to graduate every year? We were all going to look for the same jobs, the same parameters, the same technical qualifications. What is going to be your differentiator? How well and how nicely put your story out there. Why should I hire you? Answer that in the form of a story. What is your product trying to do? Answer that in the form of a story. Build a narrative, explain it to others, add the right emotion, and grow it. That's my only take-home message for you. That's all. We wrap it here. Any questions, any feedback, more than happy to take it. Thank you so much for being a patient. And please don't freely. All those who've been trying to suppress it, it is not now. Oh yes, those are my emails in case you ever get lost in the slang of how to make a story. You can reach me on LinkedIn, Instagram.
Like a powerful story. Your words have truly inspired us to see coding not just as logic, but as creativity expressed through technology.
So as we come to the end of this insightful session, we extend our heartfelt gratitude to Ms. Rejawat for her invaluable insights and inspiring talk. A special thanks to IIC and ENIGMA for organizing this remarkable session that beautifully bridges innovation, technology and storytelling. And of course, at last but not the least, a big thanks to you all. May today's session motivate you to think differently, innovate fearlessly, and most importantly, tell your own unique story. Let us continue to learn, code, and create because every